Hello and welcome to SMPD, the podcast where we look back at the cartoons that shaped our childhood. I am Chris Bolton. With me, as always, my cartoon companion, Mr. Mark Williams.
Hello.
And this episode, we are looking back at Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light. I've been excited about this one for quite a while. Knowing that it's on the list, I'm like, I can't fucking wait to do Visionaries. It's another one of those shows that I remember, well, not just shows, just in general, the toys and everything as well. I just remember it just burning very, very brightly for a very, very brief period of time, just like Brave Star and just like Centurions as well. They seem to just come and go very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, this one, I remember this. I remember when I first was introduced to this, it was my 7th birthday, and I'd never seen it. I'd never heard of it. And somebody in my class got me the Lyric toy for my birthday.
Right.
And it was the same birthday I had Tex Hex from Brave Star.
Okay.
And it was the first time I was introduced to those two cartoons together. And you're right. I mean, this only ran for 13 episodes. I mean, it was a one and done season, and then I think there were 6 comics that came after it, which were released bi-monthly for a year.
And then it just vanished.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, it's done.
Yeah, and even with the toys, I just remember like they were fucking amazing. These toys were awesome because they were holograms, and it was the fucking 80s. Holograms were amazing. Like that was the closest thing to virtual reality we had.
Well, like I said, I had this one. I had this Lyric one, and I've still got it. I've still got the figure. I haven't got the hologram from the chest, and I haven't got. He came with a helmet, a whip, and the staff. Yeah, and I haven't got any of that. I've just got the dude. And unfortunately, as my mother pointed out to me today, because she's digging it out for me, the front of his hair has just started to fade a little bit, ever so subtly, like mine.
I mean, you know, action figures age too, dude. What can you say?
So she's digging that out. Provided she can find it, there's I'll put a picture in the video. But it was funny because I never. This one kid, I can't remember who it was that got me this toy, but I had this toy for my birthday. But I don't remember anybody in my what passes for a 7-year-old social group. Anybody else liking with it, or anybody else having any of the toys. So I had this one, and it wasn't as if like everybody had Turtles, everybody had Transformers, everyone had Ghostbusters, and you could always when you went on people's houses, you took them with you and you played, and if you had 2 Egons, wherever, that's just part of the game. I don't remember anybody ever having these.
No, I mean, I had a pretty extensive collection of He-Man figures, and I had the real Ghostbusters figures as well. I had some Brave Star, but I think I only ever had like one Visionary figure. I don't remember. I mean, I'm assuming I don't know. I'm assuming they were expensive as fuck because there were holograms on them. Oh, they certainly are now. But I mean, back then as well, like there was holograms on them. I mean, like, I paid no mind to money back then. I was a kid.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But holograms kind of been cheap in the 80s, right? So
no, that's right. I mean, and to have a full set, because I mean, there were five Spectral Knights and about 8 Darkling Lords, so they've all had their own figures. Plus, you'd have now, if Hasbro were worth their salt, which we know they are, they'd have brought out the vehicles, they'd have brought out all sorts of shit.
You could definitely get the vehicles. I never had one, but I know you could definitely get the vehicles. I mean, a slightly missed opportunity for not actually selling like the beast forms as well, I think.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, because I mean, looking at it, I mean, I've not been able to track down. I think there's one full episode on YouTube, and I've not found anything else. I've just found clips.
Mm-hmm.
And they've all got their beast forms. I think that's a missed opportunity. Either give them away with stick an extra £2 on the price and give them away with the figure, or sell them separately.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been the way to do it, I guess. Is like, I was thinking sell them separately, so you get a Visionary and then you can get like a beast form Visionary, or you do a Transformers style variant, or like, give away a little plastic, the real Ghostbusters used to come with the little plastic ghosts. Just give away a little plastic lion or a little plastic snail, or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of Arzon in particular, because like he turned into an eagle.
Yeah.
So you could quite easily put a little bird in the thing with him, or probably about a third of the size of the figure.
Yeah, and just let him, so that when you're playing, you can take his eagle form.
Yeah, and he can fly off and do whatever. Same with Lyric with his he was a lion, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And with the others, they all had, or most of them had them. And it just seems like a missed opportunity, really.
Yeah, that's definitely a missed opportunity. But there was something weird about that anyway. So I'm not sure which came first here, chicken or egg. But like we talk on the show a lot about the sort of synergy between like toys and shows.
Yeah.
And with this one, I'm not sure which came first, but it kind of feels like the toys were driving the show rather than the other
Yeah.
way around, because like you needed a gimmick to hide these toys. But I've got this feeling, I don't know why, but I've got this feeling the toys came later.
I don't know. I mean, it may have been a case of they were designed to come at the same time to coincide, but then because the run was so short, the toys just weren't ready. I mean, in the wiki entry, it says Visionaries: Knights of the Magical Light is a science fantasy media franchise consisted of a short-lived toy line of action figures and vehicles produced by Hasbro, an animated series, and bi-monthly comic by Star Comics. So it doesn't really give you that impression, and it may have been that was a problem in this country rather than elsewhere. That no, it may be the case that they all came together in America, and then here it was just a case of, well, we stick it on TV, and then we'll get the toys over here when we've got the demand for it.
Could be. I don't know. But yeah, to me, it just felt like, because like in the show, when they like transform into their beast forms, like they sort of come out of their chest, and there's kind of this.
Yeah.
I don't know. They kind of digitize almost, like it's supposed to be light, isn't it? Because then it goes to the holograms, but they kind of digitize, and so like it seems that the ideal opportunity to give those little plastic figures that you can like turn it so the hologram shines, and then like just shoot your little beer or whatever you're going to be out and put it in his place.
Yeah.
That seems like a no-brainer, but I don't know. Maybe the toys were fucking expensive enough without.
Well, the thing with the toys as well, because they were very detailed. And I'm thinking that particularly the armor that the layer I had, the armor was all individual layers. So you had the big bulky sort of light blue plastic that was his color. Then there was like a secondary layer which was kind of like it was like a very dark off green color.
Yeah.
But even that, it wasn't just a sheet of plastic. It was done in layers, so you had detail on it. Like you had almost like a chainmail sort of effect on bits of it. So you had all of that. So I mean, they would have been expensive. The other thing is, if you think of your real Ghostbusters figures as an example, they were it was plug the arms and the legs in the body, interchangeable heads, sort of. I mean, they were slightly different sizes and different colors and stuff, but the mold would have been very similar. The Visionaries ones, they were articulated at the elbow and the knee as well. Yeah, and I'm fairly sure the wrist as well. Actually, I might be wrong on that, but I think they were definitely more articulated. But you could see where they'd articulated. They hadn't gone out of their way to design the cheap plasticky version, which was going to snap. They were fucking screwed with Galv screws as well.
Yeah, they were built to last. These things.
They were, and because they were smaller than the. I think the one I had was probably the same size as the Ray Ghostbuster.
Right.
Because he was the smaller one,
the shortest. Yeah.
And because I remember that we always used to play, because I had Ecto 1, I had the Fire Station, I had the Transformers. So he was always like a ghost knight.
Yeah.
Because I had no fucking imagination as a child. So like he was always the ghost knight who was horned in the Fire Station. Oh no, he was.
I mean, why not?
He was horned in Castle Grayskull because that was on the other side of the room. That was always the thing that we played together. It was the Ghostbusters and him, and occasionally there'd be Thundercats or He-Man or whatever involved as well. But yeah, it was that sort of size. But the amount of detail on it for that size was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they were really fucking cool toys. I remember mine very, very fondly. The show, I couldn't really remember that much about.
No,
though.
I struggled with the show.
The toys that I remember. So going back and watching it was something I was quite excited about. Because I knew like Knights of the Magical Light, and I knew that they were knights and stuff. I'd completely, or my memory at least, had completely glossed over this whole kind of weird three suns coming together to form an eclipse.
Yeah,
and then it wiped out
all the technology.
Yeah, but like, look, it's a fucking kid show, and like I've called bullshit on far worse things than this, but like the beauty of science, right, is that if you were to have a cataclysmic event like that, then science will rebuild itself, because science will always be science.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this thing in the pilot episode where they go on about, all the electricity in the world has been wiped out. No, that's not how that works, though, is it? Because if we have fuel, and we have resources, then we can generate electricity, because we have the know-how. We've done this. We know how to build a power plant, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what I can gather, I haven't seen that much of it, so I've struggled to track down much of it, to be honest. From what I can gather, they've sort of made it. No, it's a cataclysmic event, but because they're so technologically advanced, they've gone away from power plants and shit. So now all of a sudden they don't have the means of generating power anymore, and that becomes a bit of a thing in the show. And so all of a sudden, the ones who don't have the avatars, for want of a better phrase, they can power vehicles.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, you either get a staff or you get the ability to like transfer your magic into the vehicles.
Yeah. So I mean, you had that. So I mean, it's almost as if they've kind of gone, oh right, okay, well we can see where the world is going. It's all we're going to keep on consuming, and building bigger and better all the time until the point where we can't sustain our planet. It's a bit like we said with Brave Star. It's kind of self-fulfilling in a way.
Yeah, but I think Brave Star just kind of leans into the fact that we've gone back to the Old West, but the technology still exists there. So you have like, with it, Brave Star's got the kind of Star Wars feel to it, whereas just a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Whereas with this, it's like, well, we're going to knock everything. And don't get me wrong, at no point does it say it's Earth or anything like that. It's going to be a galaxy far, far away as well. Yeah, Prismos or something like that.
Primos.
Something like that. So
Prismos.
But again, even if you're not using a power plant, if you become so advanced, then you still have the knowledge to go backwards. And if you don't, all you need are scientists or people with a curious mind to conduct the right series of experiments. And sooner or later, mankind will once again arrive at the exact same conclusion. I mean, that's the fundamental difference between science and magic or religion, as most people call it.
I mean, that was the thing that got me, is that okay, well, we have all the science is wiped out, fine, okay, whatever, but then it's replaced with magic.
Like
what? How?
I don't. Yeah, and I don't quite understand why we very specifically gone back to medieval times.
Well, yeah, that's it. And all of a sudden, everybody's got the armor again.
Yeah, it's like, why is
that? Happen to have lying around.
But the armor isn't like, if we've lost all technology, then we would have lost all kind of means to manufacture and precision engineer anything. Okay, but the armor isn't like clunky old fucking medieval suits of armor. They're wearing like practically fucking mech suits.
Yes.
Like, so it's, how have you made those? What?
What did you just have them lying around for a rainy day?
Yeah, like what the fuck? And like the vehicles, like, all right, I know the vehicles have been, I guess there's kind of remnants that have been left lying around, but if technology's been gone for this long, they would have all rusted and stuff. So somebody had to fucking repair them.
Well, yeah.
It's just, but yeah, it just, the concept fundamentally doesn't work, does it?
No, that's right. I think it's one of those, and I mean, we are quite strange on the show, as much as sometimes things like that get a pass and other times they don't. But I think on this one, it's just that there's too much. There are too many assumptions made that you will just go along with. That the fact that okay, you have your eclipse and that's fine. You that I can live with that if that was the thing and that was the crux of the story. And you say, right, all of a sudden now we are trying to rebuild our civilization or whatever else. And okay, a bit boring for a kid show, but you can build any sort of story out of that, especially when you've got rival factions and stuff. That's fine. But then to say, well, yeah, all the science has gone because we had a massive EMP and it wiped everything out, wiped out the entire planet, which I'm fairly sure is not how EMPs work. But because of that, all of a sudden there's magic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's magic because whatever his name is that isn't Merlin.
Yeah.
What's his name? Merklin. That's it.
Not being confused with Merkin.
Yeah. So there's magic because Merklin shows up and goes, "Hey, I'm a magic dude and compete in this tournament, and I will give you magic." Incidentally, I have watched quite a lot of it. I didn't intend to. I intended to watch because I've been more busy than usual this week. There's a lot of shit going on, and so I've had to find time to watch this alongside Game of Thrones stuff as well. So my intention was to say, like, these are like 24 minutes. Like, right, I'll sit down, I'll watch maybe like the first one, maybe two. That should give me enough of a refresher for the show. I'll be fine with that because I remember the toys and stuff. And I watched the first one. It's fucking awful. The first one's absolutely fucking terrible. And it doesn't get much better as the series goes on either. But it's serialized, and it was Saturday. I was fucking in bed on my phone, and I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna watch another one. And then I got to the end of episode 2, and I was like, I think I'll watch another one. And then I got to the end of episode 3, and then I was like, I think I'll watch another one. And before you know it, I've watched, like, I didn't realize at this point either there were only 13 episodes. I've watched half the fucking show, pretty much. because it was easy to just keep fucking watching it. But that never really gets explained. There are other magic people that show up as well, and they're just
Yeah.
like, "Hey, there's magic now," because we've presumably all like Merklin's must have been there all along. But he's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait until science is at its day because I can't compete or whatever, and then I'll just
Yeah.
swoop
Hope
in.
I don't die in the meantime.
Yeah, maybe I'll burn some bushes or something, and everybody will fucking worship me. So yeah, they're like they do the trials of Merklin or whatever in the most
Yeah.
just poorly plotted episode I've ever seen of anything ever. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking terrible. Then they all get their powers, and mind you, bearing in mind this is supposed to sell toys as well.
Mm.
Like, who the fuck wants a toy of like a badass like evil knight who turns into a fucking armadillo?
Yeah.
Or a fucking
They were useless, but the things they turned into, most of them were absolute
well,
crap.
most of the most of the spectral knights were cool because you had like a
Yeah.
lion, a bear, a hawk.
Yeah.
What else did you have? There was a dolphin. The lady one was a
Yeah,
dolphin.
Galadriel was a dolphin, wasn't she?
Yeah. I think in fact I've got a list of it here. Right, a fox, meh, okay. A
Yeah, an
wolf,
eagle, a
right?
cheetah.
Yeah, I mean that's all fine, right?
Yeah, a
That's not too
bear.
bad
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah,
But
they're
then
all right.
you get to the Darkling Lords, you get like the leader, like the baddest of the
He was
badass,
Snape,
Mollusk.
wasn't he?
He's a mollusk. Darkstorm is that's kind of the equivalent of Galvatron turning into Megatron turning into a fucking gun. Like it's the most useless thing ever. He's the
Yeah.
evilest fucking dude ever, and he turns into an inanimate object. We had this discussion when we talked about Transformers. It's the same thing. He turns into a fucking mollusk. Now on the other side, his fucking rival, his arch rival, turns into a lion. Now how's that fucking fight gonna go down? Seriously, a lion versus a mollusk? Are you fucking kidding me? But that's part of the thing as well with the Darkling Lords. Like at least with the Spectral Knights, they turned into like recognizable animals.
Yeah.
So there was again within the narrative of the world and everything, there was this kind of they have lions, they have bears. These are animals that we recognize and they're actual.
Yeah.
And even like a mollusk, okay, fine. And then you get a lizard, but then you get like a fucking pterodactyl or whatever the fuck it is. And it's like, yeah, that's cooler. That's what you'd expect them to turn into. But how do you have that against a fucking eagle? That's not fair, is it? Like,
it is just bizarre. And like, but again, like the way they did it, it's like, yeah, we're going to give all the cool ones to the goodies, and we're gonna make Chief Bad Guy a fucking mollusk.
Yeah, it's not a pterodactyl, by the way. It's a phylot, whatever that is.
Yes.
It's a Prismosium pterodactyl like flying scavenger. There you go.
No, I saw that one. I saw as I watched the first episode, and then I saw a handful of clips, and one of them, it was really badly done. But the one who was an eagle, Arzon, rescues a damsel princess who is in the middle of a barren wasteland in a ditch, calling for help. Now, if that doesn't scream trap,
it's episode 2.
I don't know what the fuck does. So he legs it. Now, these staffs as well. These staffs annoy the piss out of me because they're the most awkward things in the fucking world, and you have to wear it down your back like a bloody flag.
I mean, they're banners, aren't they?
Yeah.
And in an army, like in medieval times like that, you'd have knights and you'd have bannermen.
You would have somebody specific.
Somebody else would be carrying.
You wouldn't shove it down the back of your suit of armor to run away.
I mean, it would have made more sense if, like, the knights all had squires or bannermen, and like the knights could all power the vehicles, because then everybody then it's instantly cooler as well, because you get into this kind of Mad Max, post-apocalyptic wasteland type of scenario. So that's cooler.
Yeah.
And then the fucking, the squires, instead of having the ability to take beast form, they have the staffs.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it just seems a really, really stupid thing to do. And from a toy point of view, they were clunky as hell as well. Because all we used to use them for was twatting the other toys with them.
I mean, I've got to be honest, like, the staff was just a fucking hologram. That was it to me. There was you couldn't fight with it. It was just... And to be fair, the thing with the figure is like, yeah, it was really well articulated, really detailed, looked really cool, as you said. I just used to sit there and stare at the fucking hologram.
Yeah.
Because it was
just twist it back and...
I mean, I feel like we can't underestimate just how fucking awesome holograms were in, like, what was this, 1986, 87 probably?
Like, yeah.
There you go. Like,
well,
we didn't see
probably a bit late.
anything like that.
Possibly a bit later here, possibly 88, 89. So it was my 7th birthday, so it would have been about 89, yeah.
I mean, and you're talking like the full on like 3D holograms, like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
The lion looked like there was a fucking lion's
yeah.
head in his chest.
I
It
say because you
was,
had two. So you had the one on the banner, which was pretty cool. That was a really
yeah,
good. It was really big. It was really well designed. It was really, really detailed. But yeah, the one on the chest as well. That was cool as well. It was a full size chest plate.
yeah, they were fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it just, yeah, and there was just something about that was, to use the term from the show, it was fucking magical when you're a kid
Yes.
watching, you're just tipping it back and forth, seeing this fucking 3D lion roar. Like, we
Yeah.
didn't have, like, today, kids would look at that and they'd be like, that is fucking lame. Because holograms are a thing now. Like, you can get holograms in packets of fucking stickers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But
Exactly.
then, that was fucking amazing. Um, where was I going with that before I went off down the fucking track of how awesome holograms were? Oh,
I can't.
you were talking about episode 2 with the fucking
Yeah. With it.
big
Yeah.
reveal, and it turns out to be whatever her name is, the shark lady.
Yeah.
Uh,
Whose name I can't remember. Viralina.
Viralina, that's it. Who like just all of a sudden rips off this
Yeah, she pulls off
weird,
princess skin.
yeah.
But it's quite funny because after they catch him, so he tries to escape. He runs away. They outnumber him this around him, so he turns into an eagle and tries to fly away. And the one who turns into a not a pterodactyl throws some shackles at him,
Yeah,
and then
just
flies off and catches him. I'm not being funny. If you do that and you catch him and you grab him by the scruff in your big pterodactyl jaws, you don't take him back. You bite his fucking head off.
Well, the point is they wanted to capture him though, didn't they?
I don't
Because
know. I didn't see that bit
because in the narrative of the show, for some unknown reason, they wanted to capture him, but that then leads to them all catch them all. That leads to them all being in prison together, and that's the point where they decide to form the Spectral Knights so that they can stand up, because they're not the Spectral Knights at that point. They're just a bunch of like knights and friends and everybody who happened to take part in Merklin's race to the top of the tower thing and all get magical powers. And then it's when they're all locked up in prison together. It's what's his name? Leo. I keep forgetting their names because they're fucking awful. Lyric, who's like, yeah, well, I'm going to pledge here and now that we form the Spectral Knights and we never allow this to ever happen again. And so that's how they come to become the Spectral Knights. At the end of the pilot, the Darkling Lords agree to peace with the Spectral Knights. And as for some reason, they all get out of Merklin's tower and they're all stood there about to fight each other. And the Darklings just go, yeah, fuck it, we don't need to fight, peace. And the Spectral Knights are like, yeah, okay, no problem. And they all walk away. And as they're walking away, they're like, this peace isn't going to last. And the Darkling Lords are going, we'll get you, Spectral Knights, or they're not called Spectral Knights at that point, but they're like, yeah, we'll get you another day. I'm like, well, why the fuck didn't you just have a fight?
Yeah, you're all there.
Yeah, it's like the lamest, like, every time Skeletor would get away, or every time Hordak would get away, or anything like that, there would always be a convoluted way that they managed to escape He-Man and She-Ra that week. Like there was always a way that they were able to live, it never came down to like He-Man can't kill them or anything like that. There was just always some convoluted means that they were able to escape. But this was literally both sides staring each other down and just going, fuck it.
Not today.
But yeah,
fucking lads can't be bothered.
It was just ridiculous.
It's like I don't know if you ever had it. I mean, when you get gangs, when you're a kid and you're in a gang, I mean, no, I don't mean like a gang like today where you'll fucking stab each other and shit.
Well, with like switchblades and stuff.
Yeah.
No, when have dance-offs.
Yeah. So no, when you're in that sort of environment, and it's like you get to that point where you've got a rival gang and nobody likes each other and you're always arguing shit. But when it comes to an actual fight, nobody actually wants to do it.
You never ever wanted to fight when you were in school, did you? I don't think even the bullies did. Like every fight I've ever been in school in my life, and I didn't have many because I was a fat kid, which meant I was actually pretty good at talking my way out of most situations. Hence the reason I now spend God knows how many hours a week just yabbering on to thin air on this podcast. Well, you're not thin air. I know you're all out there, listeners. I appreciate every single one of you, but I don't actually know many of you personally. So I'm right now just talking at a wall. But that's just something that evolved out of being fat. So I didn't have to fight that often. But when I did, I'm pretty sure, like, not only did I just really not want to do it, the person I was fighting really didn't want to do it either. To the point where I remember having one really weird, convoluted fight that went on for like 2 weeks, where we'd be like knocking on each other's door, going like, "We're gonna fight today," and it was literally that. You'd knock on the door like, "We're gonna fight, yeah." No, I gotta go shopping today. We're gonna fight. No, I'm staying with my nan today. Right, okay.
Yeah.
And this went on for like 2 weeks until eventually we were like, it had built up into like a frenzy. Honestly, you could have sold fucking tickets for this thing. It had gone on for that long. So we're like, right, we're going to the park. We're gonna fight today, and we went down there and like shoved each other around 5 minutes, and then just went, yeah, draw, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah, I had the same sort of thing. It was a guy I was quite friendly with, and you know what? It's another like as well. So we used to play football in the schoolyard and play rugby and play basketball, all this sort of shit in the yard, which is really a really good idea on concrete. And got into a bit of fucking handbags with somebody as a very good friend, and it just turned into a bit of pushing and shoving, as these things do. And it got built up, and that was the same as it got broken up very quickly in the schoolyard, as teachers were actually paying attention. Got broken up, and then again that was like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to fight now. We used to get the same youth club on like a Wednesday evening, and there was 1 week I wasn't there because I had football. There's another week he wasn't there because he had rugby, and then it was about 2 months later, and this thing had been built up and built up and built up, and by the time we got like, what's this about? Why are we doing this again?
Yeah,
I have no fucking idea. And I think similar thing. I shoved him, he shoved me, he punched me in the chest. Is that it?
That's it. Yeah, fights are fucking rubbish when you're kids, aren't they? They are fucking rubbish. But yeah, that is literally what this was like at the end of the episode. It's like, right, we're all going to take all our beast forms and we're all going to like roar at each other for a bit, and then just like, it's been a long fucking day. It's been a long day. You got captured. You've had to swear allegiance to Dark Lord. Like, we've all met the weird, creepy wizard guy. Like, fuck this. Yeah. Let's just go home. Like, capture us tomorrow, guys. Seriously. Yeah. Like, how's 10 o'clock work for you? Yeah, after I've had some breakfast. I don't like to be captured on an empty stomach. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking ridiculous. But it must have worked, because that was the episode I got to the end of, and it's like, I'm going to watch another one of those because I want to see how this plays out. And in the end, I had to stop myself because I was like, I've got to watch Game of Thrones as well. I've got to stop watching Visionaries now because this has been like fucking 2 and a bit hours that I've been watching fucking Visionaries.
Like, I said, like, I found the pilot and I found lots of 2, 3, 5 minute clips, but I've not found that many full episodes. Mainly because I haven't looked that hard. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, they're out there. They're out there.
But yeah, so when I did that, and then as you said, like we had D&D on Saturday, so that takes up like 4 fucking hours.
Yeah.
And then we've got Game of Thrones to watch, and then we've got other shit going on as well. It's like, oh yes, fine. So the clips I saw were fine, but I was like, it didn't hook me enough for me to go, oh fuck, I need to see the next one. I need to watch another one. I mean, there was a certain charm to them. They had a very thing. The characters were very quaint, especially the Spectral Knights. They were all very sort of quaint and old English, weren't they?
Oh, very much so. And I think this is the thing: it was just so weird. Like you're right, nothing there works. Okay, the animation is terrible. The voice acting's
all right. There was some of the coloring was all right. Like, some of the coloration looked a bit like early Thundercats. With purple sky and stuff like that. That worked really well.
I think the art design's all quite nice, but the animation's terrible. The writing is terrible.
The soundscape was interesting.
Yeah, but it's just there's something odd about it. And it was like every time it got to the, I think it's because they serialized it.
Yeah.
Get at the end, and it ends on a cliffhanger, and I'm like, well, the next one's and it's the classic binge watching thing of where I found it. They were literally all queued up, and I was like, oh, the next one's right there. They're only 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah, it's fine.
I can do that. I'm laying in bed. It's nice and warm. Like, fuck it, I'll watch another one. And I don't know what happened, but I just ended up watching loads. I hadn't planned to, like you said, we had a busy Saturday, but yeah, I ended up watching quite a lot of it, and I can't really say that I didn't enjoy it either, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, I know it's not good, and I'm not pretending that it is. Okay, this is not good. It's fucking atrocious.
It's interesting, though. I think
there's something there, isn't there?
I mean, the concept itself is okay. The logic doesn't fucking hold. We know that.
Not for a second. No.
But the concept is interesting. They could have played more on the fact that they were a very technologically advanced planet, and then they literally plunged back to the Dark Ages. They could have played on that a lot more. They could have done a lot more with that. I think that there have been other post-apocalyptic shows that have come out since, both for children and for adults, which have been a lot better at exploring that side of things. Or certainly building that into their story and building that sort of chaos into their world.
even at the time, I mean, I know it's not their world, but look at things like Thundercats and Ulysses and
Yeah,
Jace and things like that, where they're having to kind of catapult through space and end up on new planets, and especially in the case of Thundercats, just it colonize a new
yeah,
planet basically. So that's a similar kind of thing. You're building your culture all over again.
yeah,
But yeah, there was just something weird. This literally feels like somebody just smoked a fuckload of weed one night and went, right, okay, what are the kids into? Okay, space. Space is big, okay. And hologram, we can get holograms cheap, yeah, okay. Um, what else? What else can we do? Has anyone done nights? Nobody's done nights for a while. Nights? Anybody? Nights? No, no nights. Okay, let's do nights then. And that's how they've done it. They've just literally just slammed it all together, and then in some weird fucking stoned haze, gone, okay, this is how it works. There's a giant EMP type thing when all the suns collide and it wipes everything out, and we all go back to the Dark Ages, and there's fucking lions and pterodactyls.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Why not?
And that's what it feels like. It literally
Yeah,
feels like just
and
brain farting.
yeah, and the thing is as well, you made an interesting point there about the fact that like with Thundercats, they were trying to recreate their culture from scratch.
Mm.
This almost feels like it's a bit. We talked about Captain Planet as well, where it's a little bit preachy to a point where, I sent you the Don Cheadle video of the fucked up
Yeah,
Captain
yeah,
Planet
yeah.
thing for Funny or Die. But it's almost a bit like, well, you fucked up. No, everything got fucked up. You flew too close to the sun. Everything was too advanced. So we stripped that shit down. But instead of trying to rebuild your culture, you try and build a whole new one based on knights and magic. And it's like, hang on, who in their right mind is doing that? Like, I'm not being funny. We're on the fucking precipice. We have been for years. Fucking planet's getting too hot. Nothing can be sustained. Everything's going to change. But if when things happen, or when we do get fucking water levels rise and cities get wiped off the coast and shit, we're not going to go right. Okay, let's just wipe the slate clean and start civilization again.
That's the weird thing, is that it starts from a point of civility by going back to the time of sort of knights and lords and
Yeah,
things like that. Whereas actually what you'd have is fucking anarchy. You'd have
yeah.
Mad Max. There'd be no honor in being a knight. You wouldn't form clans. You wouldn't have darkling lords and spectral knights and
No, you know,
honor
fucking
and terms of
rioters and
combat.
looters and every man for himself.
Absolutely. So there's something just weirdly quaint, I think, about it, and I think age helps that. I think
Yeah.
if you're watching it in the 80s, maybe you get, certainly if you're watching it as a kid, it's just like fucking
Well, knights are cool.
knights and animals, and yeah, so it's all cool, all right. So obviously the marketing fucking worked.
Holograms. Fucking hell.
So it obviously fucking worked, all right. And then even if you're watching it as a slightly older kid, or a dad watching it with your kids, or a mum watching it with your kids in the 80s, it's like it's just gonna wash over you. You're not gonna give a shit, all right. But I think when you view it now through the lens through the lens of sort of us being adults ourselves and looking at the kind of things that kids today get, you look at it and go, yeah, that is pretty fucked up. Like, you just wouldn't get this today. It's so just bizarre and random, and I kind of love it for that. I kind of respect how fucking bonkers it is.
I
But
don't know if it means to be though. I think that's the problem. I don't think
no,
it
it
means to
is
be batshit crazy.
it is very fucking earnest. Like they completely buy into, and that, I think that's what leads me to sort of question things instead of taking the leap of faith with them. That's what leads me to start going, but hang on, you could still generate electricity because you still have the knowledge, and at no point have you said that you don't have the resource. But it's because everything else, like they make a point to explain how the rules of magic work, and the staffs can only be used once, and then they've got to be recharged, and Lyric is a lion because of this, and they all their avatars match them because of their characters, and they set up different factions, and it's a fully realized world in a lot of ways. They are very earnest about it, and they are very earnest about the fact that these are knights, to the point again where, like, yeah, I get it, we're in space and it's the future, so there should be vehicles that can fire guns, but surely it makes more sense for you all to be on fucking horses, even if they're robot horses.
Yeah.
Like in Brave Star, like, go the whole hog. But it's weird. It's kind of this. It's almost like they've built this new culture where knights are their gods, if you know what I mean. Like, knights are the deities to be worshipped.
Yeah.
So that's a thing. It's like, well, we're all going to pretend like we're knights, because we can't actually be knights, because as far as I can tell, there's no fucking king.
Yeah, there's no monarchonitis. There's no feudal system.
We've just decided to be knights. We just woke up one day. It's like some sort of weird fucking batshit crazy fever dream, innit? Like, Lyric woke up one day and went, well, the world's gone to shit. I can pretty much do anything. There is no societal rules anymore. I can do anything. So I'm going to rebuild society, and I'm going to do it by being a knight. It's a bit like fucking King Ezekiel in The Walking Dead, where he just woke up one morning and went, do you know what? I'm a king now.
Yeah.
Fuck
you. Fuck you all. I'm a king. I've got a tiger. I'm a king.
You can't tell me I'm not. There's no actual king to challenge me, so I'm a fucking king. Yeah. And that's kind of what's happened here. It's like, we're all fucking knights. Fuck you. You want to argue with me? Fuck you. I'm going to eat you because I'll turn into a lion.
But again, it's that thing as well. When you're kids, you and your gang, you're all a thing, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so we're all going to be knights. And you can all be fucking dragons or cavemen or whatever you want, but we're all knights.
Yeah, exactly. It's
just so... I can't remember what episode it was, but there's an episode of South Park where they're all playing Lord of the Rings. And then there's another gang who are all playing Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And they all kind of meet in the middle and have a scrap.
Yeah.
It just feels a bit like that.
I mean, we've made almost an entire podcast out of that. But it is literally that. It's like somebody's just gone, why are they knights? I don't know, whatever.
Because they are.
Yeah, because they fucking are. And that's the problem then, is there's so much thought gone into half of it, and then the other half, they're just going to have, but knights are cool. They could just as easily have been, and it would have probably made more sense if they were like the last engineers on Earth. And that's
the last fucking self-sustaining robots or something.
And that's why they've got the kind of cool armor as opposed to just old school knights armor or stuff that they've made out of trash cans or whatever. They're actual engineers, but they have completely run out of resource to be able to manufacture anymore. They've gone as far as they can go. They've repaired those vehicles, but they can't get them running. And then all of a sudden, along comes Merkley and goes, well, if you turn your back on science, actually come to the dark side. I've got magic. It'll get your vehicles running. It'll power up your armor. It'll do it. And so there's something interesting there as well then about these, these pillars of science and engineering all of a sudden have to
rely on magic.
We have to rely on magic now. And they have to strip everything. That's far more interesting and probably far more adult than it needs to be for Visionaries. But I mean, there are rumors of a film in the works still. They persist. It's been stopped and started plenty of times.
Yeah.
So if it, I'm laying that card on the table now, listeners. So if that ends up being the plot of the film, then I've just laid that on the table right now.
Yeah, we're not out doing that, to be fair.
Yeah, I was going to say, see also over on Who Wins, where I literally predicted The Incredibles 2. Beat for beat, pretty much.
I mean, I remember that doing the rounds fucking years ago, that there was going to be a film. And I remember, again, being stupidly excited about it, not remembering much about the show, but remembering the toys. And I remember thinking, and this would have been, when I was in uni, so early 2000s.
Well, since then as well, it was supposed to be part of this, and I think they've canned it now, but they were going to have like a shared Hasbro universe, weren't they? Because Transformers was big, and G.I. Joe was doing decent.
Then they were going to do a Barbie. Well. No, Barbie was Mattel, wasn't it? They were going to do a rival version of it with the Barbie movie.
But there was going to be this shared Hasbro universe, and Visionaries was going to be part of that. Which again makes sense because I know they've crossed over with Transformers in comics, so it makes perfect sense to do that. And again, like, why not? Why not take them to Cybertron, where all of a sudden there's all the fucking technology?
Yeah, there's all the resource you need.
Bring back some fucking energon, power up all those vehicles. Off you go. Now you've got science and magic.
Yeah, or Thor, as it was.
Oh, well, yeah, basically.
But yeah, I mean that would make a lot more sense, and it's quite a bizarre one because it's difficult to imagine because they were knights. It's difficult to remember that they're in a futuristic setting because, as I said, they would plunge back into the Dark Ages. But yeah, there's nothing to say. Actually, you're knights because you needed to be knights. But actually, he was an engineer. He was an astrophysicist. He was some fucking nuclear wizard.
They do all have jobs, or like did all have jobs anyway, and that is canon. Like it is explained what they all were. I can't fucking remember now because I'll be honest, I wasn't really part of the reason I watched so much is because I wasn't paying that much fucking attention. So let's have a look. So Leoric was the city's mayor during the Age of Science.
Yeah, Ektar was a cop.
There you go.
Farrell was, it doesn't say.
No.
So I mean, there's a lot of them. You're right. A lot of them had jobs. Whittaquick was a prince. What a fucking stupid name, Whittaquick.
Right. Hang on. How come he was a prince? He would still be a prince. That lineage wouldn't stop.
Well, it says prince of an unnamed city in the south, so maybe it's a different fucking kingdom, and actually has no standing in this one.
Maybe, but then that if you're gonna have a prince, that explains why they're knights, doesn't it? Why don't you lean into that slightly? Like that's a gimme. And also something else that sprung to my mind. We're talking about jobs and previous civilization. Like, how come they've gone? Like all power has gone, yeah, and there's been like a cataclysmic event, but it's not like there's been a nuclear blast or anything like that, right? So why is everybody living in castles and shit? Why are they not in like futuristic towers and spires? Like the landscape of the world would still be the same, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the infrastructure and everything would be there. It's just there's nothing power in it.
But they're in fucking castles with moats and all sorts of shit.
Yeah, like, I mean, one of the starts I saw, I think it was an episode called Lion Hunt, and you've got fucking Darkstorm and a couple of the others. They ransack a village by driving a big fucking cart through it, effectively, which looks like some sort of beast. And yeah, it plows through all these little fucking medieval cottages.
Yeah,
and I remember thinking, why are they? Yeah, why are they in like a 13th century farm village?
Makes no sense.
Why are they not with the Jetsons?
Yeah, makes no fucking sense. It seems to me the only reason that they're in any sort of futuristic society at all is so the armor can look cooler and they can get the vehicles. Yeah. Otherwise, why don't you just set it in medieval times, and then the magic works as well. But then I guess that wouldn't have put holograms on the toys. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, reading about the toys particularly. So in '87, Hasbro produced a set of figures after the series ended. So you're right, they did come later. So it was the show driving the toys in this case, not the other way around.
But it just feels like it's the other way around.
It does feel right the other way around, doesn't it? But it said the figures had hologram stickers on both their chests and their staffs, which resulted in their being too expensive to produce. The toy line lasted a year with the figures of 12 male characters produced along with 4 vehicles that were packaged with an exclusive figure. A second wave was planned in 1988, but was never released due to the cartoon and toy line being cancelled due to expense.
Well, there you go. So holograms killed them in the end.
Pretty much, yeah. Because no, they only had a line of 12 figures and 4 vehicles.
Isn't it weird how in the 80s they would just take a fucking gamble on anything? Like, we were such a capitalist society. Like, I'm thinking back to, was it Captain Power as well? Was the one that came with a fucking laser gun?
Don't remember that.
Excuse me.
It's not ringing a bell. I might know if I see it.
I'm sure it was Captain Power. And it came with a video, and you had it was like a gun shaped like a spaceship. And like the video would play out.
Soldiers of the Future.
Yeah, that's it. And you could literally shoot the screen and stuff, but it must have cost a fucking fortune.
Yeah, that's it. Although it took far greater because there's a DVD release in 2011.
No, I need to get that. I had.
It's on Amazon. It's a Region 1 set.
I had the gun and I fucking loved it. I bet it's fucking awful. Probably. But I absolutely loved it. And so, there's things like that. Then you've got like your Teddy Ruxpin, which must have cost an absolute. I never had one because I wanted one, but they must have cost a fucking fortune to make those things back in the day.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it was possibly not because I mean, it would have been. They were about 40 quid, which at the time was a fuck ton of money for a toy.
Yeah, I mean, scaled up. What's that now? A couple of $100 probably.
Probably 120, 130 quid. But in reality, all it was a standalone tape player, which is probably about fucking yay big. It's a Walkman with a speaker and a teddy bear. And the mouth moves. The mouth doesn't have to sync up with anything. It's just a motor in the mouth to make it do this.
The eyes moved as well, though. Like it was an animated figure.
Well, the eyes didn't move. Again, they just had eyelids. They blinked. So same as the mouth. One motor, wire to either one, and they just did. And nobody would fucking know any different. Apologies for people not on video. That makes really shit fucking audio.
Yeah, and apologies for those of you that are on video, because for some reason Mark just did an impersonation of a sex doll.
Been a long
time. Yeah. I don't know what you did with your Teddy Ruxpin, but...
I never had one. We were poor.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, we weren't poor, but we weren't well off, and we certainly couldn't afford Teddy Ruxpin.
So Captain Power, the complete series on DVD on Amazon is $39.82.
I might have to look into that. we might have to have a Captain Power episode coming up.
For this set, it's not. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I sort of recognize it, but I can't remember. So
I bet it's the cheesiest shit you've ever fucking seen now.
Oh, possibly.
I bet it's fucking terrible. But yeah, so that was it. These toys were fucking expensive, and just like I said, I remember Visionaries were expensive because I only had one. So they can't.
We were never into it, so it was one of those. I don't really. I wouldn't really thought that my parents would have looked at because it was not something we ever really fucking watched. Now, if it was on, we'd see it. And I said it was only 13 episodes, so it wasn't on that fucking often. And it was only because of this toy that I was aware of it in the first place. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those that you could pick up, but by the time this was, He-Man figures were fucking, they were going for a couple of quid a pop.
They were 10 a penny. And I mean, they're the cheapest ass figures. Like He-Man figures are so poorly made.
Yeah. I mean, the Thundercats were better, but no, they weren't hugely expensive. I think they were about $5 each. And then you went into like your Ghostbusters, and then you moved on to like Turtles and shit like that, which are a bit more expensive. But I think they were more expensive because of the gimmick.
I was just saying, because they're about as well made as a fucking He-Man figure is.
Yeah.
They're not good.
Although all of mine are still intact.
Really?
Yeah. My Thundercats aren't. They all fucking fell apart. I think the only one still works is Tigra.
I don't think I've got any Thundercats figures.
I said my Thundercats, my mutants are all fine. So my Slider's still there. My Jackalman, my Vultureman, Rotaro, all of those fucking fine. All the Thundercats.
Just the Thundercats.
Apart from Tigra.
Don't build them to that. Well, of course, because Tiger is fucking nails. We've had this discussion before. Tiger is clearly the hardest Thundercat. Everybody's all Panthro this and Panthro that. It's all about fucking Tiger. Anyway, that's another rabbit hole to go down.
We've done that one, haven't we?
I think we have, yeah. And I think I've probably ranted about Tiger on that show as well. So, yeah, in a roundabout way, this was better than I thought it was going to be. Because I was excited to watch this. But
yeah, I mean,
I was expecting utter shit, and I got utter shit, but I enjoyed it.
It's better shit than you thought.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have to send me some links because I didn't look very hard, but I didn't find full episodes apart from the pilot. But I am curious, and there were some elements to it which the art style was good. There were some sort of Thundercats elements to it, especially where sort of the very dark skies and that sort of stuff where Mars Pyramid and like that. The soundscape was really interesting. Like it had that sort of Thundercats feel to it, but then over the top, they overlaid some fucking plinky plonky harp type shit.
Well, it's because it was medieval, wasn't it? So they had to like conjure up some medieval thing by doing some weird Baroque fucking music over the top.
Yeah, and it felt really fucking off.
Yeah, but I mean, there was, again, you're talking about the art design. Even when you come down to the characters themselves, like there's things like you look at Leoric and he's got a fucking whip. Like, what a weird choice to give.
Well, yeah, because the rest are fucking swords and axes and shit, and he had a whip.
I mean, what is it, 87? So, I mean, it's not even like we're slap bang in the middle of like Indiana Jones being a thing. No. Like Indy's been out a while at this point. But yeah, he's got the big old Tom Selleck stash.
Yeah,
he's got a whip. It's like what a weird fucking choice. Like
he's supposed to be a knight.
Yeah. You think he'd have a fucking lance or something, wouldn't you?
A lance, a sword, an axe. Oh, I mean,
it's not to say knights didn't use whips. I'm sure they fucking did.
Yeah, but no, your leader wouldn't have. He'd have been all fucking heroic and shit.
Yeah, it's not even to say it's not heroic to use a whip. See also Indiana Jones. But like, yeah, if you picture a knight, he's leading a charge with a fucking sword, isn't he? Or he's riding on a fucking horse with a fucking lance.
With a lance or a mace or something.
Or again, do you really mean to tell me, like, yeah, we've lost technology, so we can't fire lasers and stuff. But surely one of the first things in a post-apocalyptic society, one of the first things anybody's going to do if we still have basic smithing ability, is make fucking guns. Like, we haven't forgot what ballistics are, surely.
Well, yeah, no, and realistically, we haven't got lasers, but we can do projectiles. We can do physical.
Yeah. So again, why do we go back to knights when we could just as easily go back to fucking the Wild West? Brave Star.
Yeah, it's a more civilized era, obviously. Now.
And also Brave Star's already a thing, so we need to do something different.
Yeah. Was that Hasbro as well, or was that somebody else?
I don't think Brave Star was Hasbro, was it?
Can't remember.
I don't think it was. Because those toys were fucking massive.
They were
size like now. Yeah, this wasn't your standard Hasbro. They were fucking gigantic. They were like a foot tall. Those figures. They were fucking huge.
I still got Mattel.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I've still got Mattel Hex, and yeah, they're about a foot tall. The fucking the weird thing with those, I think I talked about on the Bracer episodes. Not only were they articulated, you could take them apart.
Yeah.
Like there was a fucking they were like modulus. You could pull his forearm out of his elbow. And clip another one in, so you could put fucking Tex Hex with Braystar's arms and his legs and shit.
Like a giant fucking modulock.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, you couldn't do that with Visionaries.
No, you couldn't do
Stop
anything
it.
with them because they were so fucking expensive. And you only had like, well, I'm sure there were listeners out there who had more than one. Okay, I had one.
I
And I fucking knew if I broke the fucking thing, that was that. Like there's
never
no
know.
coming back from it. Yeah, I'm not no because it's too fucking expensive. No chance.
Yeah.
So I mean, luckily they were fairly well put together. But even if you did break it, like as long as you had the hologram, I guess that was all that mattered. Like
Yeah. No.
you could
Well,
bust
I
the
remember.
figure up.
I wouldn't mind that the hologram peeled off quite quickly off the chest plate.
Well, they were just stickers, weren't
Yeah,
they?
just stick with it. So the hologram peeled off, and then over time we lost the fucking chest plate and the staff, the whip and the helmet. So it's just the bits that all bolted together. That's all I've still got.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're talking 30+ years later, and the country thinks probably still the strongest toy I've got.
Well, they were built to last, I guess. Then,
Yeah.
so you're getting what you pay for, aren't you? I mean, I'm just curious how much they actually cost. I'm just going to quickly see because comparatively, like they're going for like anywhere between 15 and 80 quid now.
I was going to say I saw on eBay earlier on because I'd send my mother a picture of what I was looking for her to go and find it. So I found a picture on eBay.
Yeah, try explaining that to your fucking mother. Do you remember Visionaries?
I did actually. I said in the toy box up in the attic there should be a figure about 5 inches tall. It's this, it's that. Oh, I don't remember that. So I sent her a picture. Oh yeah, I remember him. So for fuck's sake. But I sent it, and there's one on eBay which I had none of the accessories. Didn't have the whip, didn't have the helmet, didn't have the chest plate, didn't have the staff. But that was going for $18.99.
Jesus.
And I was like, fucking hell, that's not even that's not the best bits of the toy. You haven't got the hologram.
No.
The only difference was the fucking thing hadn't gone grey like me.
Right. So for comparison, okay, I haven't got to Visionaries yet, but a He-Man figure in 1983 was £4.49.
Right.
Which is a lot more than I fucking thought they were.
Yeah, I thought they were £2.
I was super lucky to have as many of those as I had. I can tell you that much then, because I had fucking loads of them.
Yeah, there's those left.
There's no cost on here for a Visionary, but if a He-Man figure was £4.49, these had to be.
You got £6-7.
I was going to say they had to be at least another £2-3 on top of that.
Yeah,
Optimus
6 or 7.
Optimus Prime was $11.99.
Fuck, that's cheap.
That's super fucking cheap, isn't it? That is super fucking cheap. And again, he was built to last then as well. None of this cheap shit like.
Well, the trailer wasn't. The trailer was shit.
Yeah.
We had no Magnus, and we've still got the lorry bit, the white bit from the front. But the trailer and all the fucking accessories and that's all long.
Well, there was just there was loads of tiny little bits of fucking plastic in it, wasn't there?
Yeah. But the trailer was fucking. It was a huge trailer, and you had a helmet went over the top of his head and all that sort of. And that was all solid plastic, but it just fucking cracked and split and all the rest of it. The lorry itself was fucking amazing, and we still got it. I think, with the exception of one of the windows, it broke because it's a dodgy part of Wales. Windows get broken.
Yeah, windows get broken.
Leave it unattended. Somebody's gonna put the fucking windows in.
Somebody getting the trailer set up shop.
Yeah. But yeah, so we still got that. But the trailer went fucking years ago. The trailer probably went when we were still kids.
So all of that is a roundabout way of saying that we think Visionaries toys were very fucking expensive. Well, I know they were very fucking expensive. I just don't know how much they actually were. I'm
kind of curious. I want to see how much that kid liked me, because whoever it was, if there was if it was one of my better friends, I'd remembered them giving it to me.
Yeah, or maybe it was like I don't know. Maybe he had a rich kid and he already had one, so you were just getting
it.
Yeah, because that happened as well a lot, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks, Nan, but I've already got this, so somebody else had it.
Yeah.
So
I think I did that with two slides and a Jackalman.
Yeah, there you go. See, so maybe it was that. Maybe
the kid didn't like me at all.
Yeah, maybe he just thought Visionaries was shit because he was like, "What the fuck is this rubbish?"
Okay, I had a cool toy. I don't care.
Fucking knights? Why are they knights and not cowboys? What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, what's he turn into? Fuck it, don't want it.
Well, technically, he turns into a fucking lion, doesn't he? It's just the toy doesn't do it. Yeah, missed opportunity. That's why it failed. See?
Yeah, that and holograms are fucking expensive, apparently.
Well, they were in the fucking 80s.
Yeah.
And probably most of the early 90s, I'd have thought as well. It wasn't really until kind of the mid 90s, I guess, that technology was coming commonplace. So it totally right. I don't know why
you talked about this fucking show this week.
Yeah, loads loads at the start. Then we just went well off topic, and we're on toys. This just popped into my head, and I don't know why, but I'm just going to throw it out there now because it's popped in my head. Mid-90s and holograms, probably. There was a fucking arcade game as well that Sega made that was all based around holograms, and it was fucking mind-blowing. We talked about how, like, holograms were, like, you know, great technology back then. This thing was mind-blowing. Like, it was called something like hologram, video hologram or something like that. But anyway, I think the game was called The Time Traveler or something. Look that up as well. You want to see how cool fucking holograms were back then. They were fucking incredible. And this thing was huge.
A hologram time traveler.
There you go. My memory's not bad for names, is it? And it would be like, and it would project this film in like a 3D space. It looked like fucking Start a New Hope or something with Princess Leia shining out of the front of R2-D2. And you controlled it. It's fucking amazing. What was that? That must have been early 90s as well.
That was 1991. Right. Well, yeah. So 1991 in arcade, 2001 for home release.
Because I could, for home release?
Yep.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it was Laserdisc.
That would make sense, same as Dragon Slayer and stuff. Because I can tell you, in terms of expense, right, I vividly remember that being £1 a go. And this was the early 90s when games were like 20 pence.
Yeah.
So that's
how you put a pound in, you're finishing the fucking game.
Oh, no, because you put a pound in, you die in like...
No, most games, you put a pound in, you fucking die, you're all the way through.
Yeah.
I remember the Simpsons game and the Turtles arcade game, so you put £2 in there, fucking golden.
Yeah, whereas this was like Dragon's Lair, where you'd put a quid in and it'd last you like 30 seconds, because it was the fucking game was just impossible. You couldn't...
Well, the game was what you did it for, was it?
No, you did it to watch the fucking 3D cowboy, and that's what I was trying to get. It was the same with Visionaries. You didn't buy them because you liked the figures. You didn't buy them because you liked the show. You had them because it was a fucking hologram and it was cool. And the cartoon doesn't have that. That's the problem. What they should have done was either make the cartoon shoot holograms out of their chest, or the toys should have turned into the actual animals. But the two aren't the fucking same thing, are they?
No, they're not.
They're nothing like each other.
Yeah, it is a very weird one. And considering the toys came later as well, I'm surprised they didn't put more effort into some way of making the two things one. Yeah, it's fucking weird.
And also, it seems weird that they never, like, especially given the type of show it was as well, like they couldn't all shoot their holograms together to become like a mega fucking...
Yeah, like a mega knight.
Yeah, exactly. Like a huge... And then you could have, like... See, there's a cooler show as well. Just two giant spectral fucking knights. Or, like, all the bad guys combined it into a dragon.
Yeah.
Right, because you got a pterodactyl and you got a fucking snail-looking thing, and you got a lizard. So they all
a shark in there as well, I think, as well.
There's a shark, yeah. They all combine to become a big dragon, and all the spectral knights just combine to become a fucking knight.
Yeah.
That's a much better show straight away. And you have like
Power Rangers, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, you have like a Power Ranger style SmackDown at the end of every show.
Destroying a couple of cities.
Well, that would make sense then. Well, there's castles, because
that's why then they're all in shacks and huts and shit.
Because these fucking assholes just wander around wrecking the fucking town every time they have a fight. Makes more sense.
It does. It makes a lot more sense.
I mean, one thing we've glossed over, actually, in talking about that, you just reminded me by saying sharks, and we did touch on it. The treatment of women in this show as well. Is like we've talked about it in Transformers, how there was a pink Transformer because girls like pink things. I think this is the same thing. There is literally a female on each side because, well, we need to sell the toys to girls as well.
Yes.
So
most of He-Man. You had Teela and Evil Lynn.
Yeah, but then weirdly, like on the evil side of things, she turns into a shark, which, you know, if we're following that traditional train of thinking, that's quite a masculine thing to be turning into. That's like a big alpha predator.
Turns into a dolphin.
Yeah, but like, what the fuck? I mean,
I know. It's weird. She's far better off just skinning princesses and wearing their flesh.
It's so fucking weird the way she pulls that.
It just looks really dark. It's almost like the Mission Impossible face where she just peels it off.
It's a full-on Scooby-Doo. It's just a full-on like, actually.
But I started saying, I don't think I finished it. So Arzon runs off and they all fucking chase him and all the rest and surround him. And when they capture him, she's there standing over him talking. And she's just holding the fucking face in her hand. It's like something out of Silence of the Lambs. It's
fucking dark. It's fucking dark. I And I think a big part of it is just that, and it shouldn't be, because they shipped this animation out. Because I've looked the animation up. They shipped the animation out. I think it's Japanese actually.
Yeah.
But it's just so poor. The animation is so fucking bad
Yeah,
that
it
I
was
think,
TMS, wasn't it? That,
yeah, I think the intent is that obviously she's wearing this costume and they wanted to animate her kind of taking the costume off and revealing herself. But it's so bad, it just looks like she goes and just pulls off this fucking skin suit.
Yeah. Which I'm on board with. I've got to be honest.
Well, if they'd have made a thing out of it, if that was a
Yeah.
facet of a character that, like, maybe she
Yeah,
was
she's a mistress of disguise and she can literally just pull her face off.
because
Like
her job before the world went to shit was she was a newsreader. So
obviously. Maybe if she was an actress and some sort of fucking
well,
chameleon.
that's what I was going to say. You could have made her an actress instead and be like, yeah, she's really fucking good at makeup. She can look like anyone. And then, yeah, her fucking animal thing that she turns into, chameleon.
Sorry. Yeah, so she was seen on a poster modeling clothes in a shop window during a flashback.
So she's a newsreader for some reason.
No, she's a model.
I'm sure she was a newsreader.
That may not feature on the wiki page I'm looking at. Yeah, doesn't say what.
Anyway, but that makes sense. But none of this show makes any fucking sense.
No, none whatsoever.
So I don't know why we should worry about that, to be honest. The theme tune as well is fucking awful, which I'm disappointed by because it's another theme tune that I vividly remember. Like as soon as we said,
remember it, and actually because I've only seen clips, I haven't picked it up.
As soon as we like when we go through our list and we look at what we're doing, as soon as we decided we're doing Visionaries, as soon as we said Visionaries, straight away I was like, Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light. I was straight
into
but it's fucking awful. Like that, because that is the only line that's any good. The rest of it has just no value whatsoever. It's terrible. It doesn't sound too bad instrumentally at the end, but
I mean, for people listening to the audio, this you'll have heard it at the start, and you'll hear the outro at the end. For anyone on video, you won't, because even though we get all of our footage from YouTube won't let us put the fucking theme song on.
So, prior to the age of magic, Viralina was a newscaster and was seen on a poster modeling clothes in a shop window during a flashback scene. She's the only female Darkling Lord. Wouldn't that make her a Darkling Lady?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said,
you're right. You're on the wiki page. I was looking on another page. We left out the bit she was a newscaster.
Yeah. Gender politics in this show, as I say, not really a thing. Or race, apparently, because every motherfucker is white. Everyone. Unless somebody hasn't taken a helmet off yet, and I haven't realised it, but as far as I can tell,
as far as I'm aware,
motherfucker is white in this show.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm surprised they're not Aryan.
Yeah, I mean, at least with He-Man, they were fucking alien. So you had all different skin tones and, Thundercats as well. Like I don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like that's some great fucking cultural melding pot of diversity, but
it just looks slightly better than everybody's being white and fairly affluent. And
I think society's got to the point now where actually, and we still have a long way to go, don't get me wrong, but we are now used to seeing a more multicultural cast in our shows, and especially in our animated shows. And we were even by the early 90s.
Yeah.
Like we took the piss out of Captain Planet for it, but it was trying to do something different there, and it was kind of a forerunner in a lot of ways, I think, for what was to come. So it's weird now to look back and just see this so whitewashed.
Yeah,
really, and like I say, maybe I've just missed it completely. Maybe there is a character in there.
I don't recall seeing anybody in the clips I've seen.
But yeah, it's the whitest fucking show in history.
It's the one I did spot. I can't remember what the name was, but again, it was in one of the clips I saw, and there was a character who had some very Asian facial features, so the high cheekbones, and again drawn in a way that the eyes were very narrow. Very sort of Ming the Merciless fucking eyebrows.
Oh dear.
Really horrible. But again, as white as fucking Casper.
Yeah,
very whitely spoken as well.
Whitely spoken.
Yes.
Nice. What does a whitely spoken person sound like? I guess
much like the rest of the cast in this fucking show.
Yeah, I guess us is the answer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because as usual, here we are banging on about shit that we are nowhere near qualified to talk about.
God,
but
no.
I can't unsee these things. It was something that just struck me as like, okay, well, this is all about fucking straight white alpha males just having a pissing contest. That's essentially what this show is.
With the token girls just there for the sake of it, and even to the point where Hasbro made 12 figures, the 12 male characters. That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
They didn't even bother buying the fucking Evelyn and Tila mold and making the 2 female characters. They couldn't be fucking bothered.
I mean, yeah, what does that tell you? You know,
fucking Hasbro, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I interestingly, one fact I did read up as well is when they started going on to the lore is slightly different in the comics as well. Yeah. Both of the females get shields that they can use.
Yes, because they don't want to put boot plates over them.
Yeah, well, and also because they don't want them to power up the vehicles, probably.
But Galadriel drove the vehicles, didn't she?
I don't know, but that was just the first thing I thought. Is like, why if they don't carry staffs, why can't they just power the vehicles like the men can? Why do they have to have shields?
Yeah, Galadriel, the only female knight among the Spectral Knights, hailing from Androsia, she possesses the totem of the dolphin. She's the love interest of Cryotech because obviously she has to be there as somebody's bird.
Oh yeah, that's front and center in the second episode. Yeah. They have a bit of a tryst.
Yeah, and then possessed of no staff, she's capable of driving the vehicles. So they gave her a fucking license.
She's capable of driving the vehicles. There you go. Then I stand corrected.
She's not allowed. She might ding it.
Yeah, I stand corrected. Because that was the first thing I thought when I read it. It was like, why are they making a point of giving the women shields to set them apart? Why can't they just drive the vehicles like the men can?
Yeah, so Verlina is also not possessed of a staff and capable of driving the vehicles.
Well, there you go then.
So what they should have actually done is just given them both a fucking minibus and they can take all the men off to war.
just drop them off. And then,
drop them off. Go to your knitting circle for a cup of coffee or whatever. Have a bit of a natter. Come back in 3 hours and everybody's dead.
Yeah, do all the washing, scrub the floors. It's that bad though, isn't it? It's that bad. Awful. It's fucking terrible. To the point where if ever there are a few points where one or the other of them will make a dash for it for whatever reason in the middle of the battle, and all of the men will stop and shout, "After her!" And the other woman has to go after her. Like the men can't chase the woman.
Yeah, but it's the thing that you couldn't have a man going and chasing down a woman and then dragging her back by the hair because that might be offensive.
No, but there are all sorts of other ways that could go whereby she can enter into combat with a man. Like you don't have to send the other woman after.
Well, this is it. It's ludicrous, isn't it? It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's just crazy. But I mean, look, it's the 80s. It's a kids' show. What do we expect? There's also a show where apparently, if you get an EMP, you forget all of science. Yeah. So I mean.
Yeah, your entire society just reverts back to the fucking Middle Ages. So why not?
Yeah, so kind of like having a global pandemic, really, because everybody seems to forget science is a thing in the world right now as well.
Well, so, that and a fucking Cheez-It as president, that didn't help.
No, probably not. Cheez-It. Why'd you go with Cheez-It and not What's It?
I don't know.
Me either.
So it's been a long day.
Isn't a Cheez-It a biscuit?
No, Cheez-It's a big fucking What's It.
I thought the Cheez-Its were the biscuits.
No.
Okay. I don't know. I think so. I thought Cheez-Its were biscuits.
I thought they were big What's Its, but I may be wrong.
That is the most off topic we've been in a long fucking time. The Cheez-Its have got nothing. Cheez-Its have got nothing to do with Visionaries whatsoever. I'm not even apologizing anymore. Like, if you're still listening to us now after 3-4 years, you should know what you're in for by now. Like particularly when we get to fucking talk about a show where we had the toys, like this. The same Gladiators. There were serious toys to be played with here. I don't remember any other Visionaries merch though. That's the thing. I remember having toys, but I don't remember ever seeing a lunchbox. I didn't have any coloring books. See, I don't even remember reading the comics, and that is unlike me because, as previously discussed, I've my whole life I've just been comics. That was
So Star Comics did a bi-monthly series starting in November '87 that ran for 6 episodes. It was cancelled midway through a 4-part episode in September '88 after only 6 issues. IDW released a 5-issue Transformers crossover in May 2018. And then, talking about the film, in December 2015, it was announced that Hasbro and Paramount Pictures were planning to create a cinematic universe combining Visionaries with G.I. Joe Micronauts. Don't remember that.
No, I don't think I do either.
Mass and ROM properties, whatever the fuck ROM was.
Don't know.
ROM Space Knight, apparently. The Hollywood Reporter reported in April 2016 a group of writers, including Michael Chabon, Brian K. Vaughan, Nicole Perman, and Chow Hodari Koga were hired to develop storylines, but the writers' room disbanded in 2017. So it's still in development, but nothing's happening with it, basically.
I mean, can you imagine like putting Visionaries up against Mask? Like,
well,
Mask
this is the thing that
fucking slaughter them.
This is the thing I don't get, right? Like you talk about cinematic universes, and at least like when you've got a superhero universe, they all have abilities. They can all complement each other in some sort of way, and there's a natural crossover. How do you cross over a feudal society of knights with Mask?
Yeah, it just
doesn't fucking work. I mean, Rom Space Knight I can kind of see because that would kind of tie in with Visionaries.
Transformers I can see because you know there is, even with Transformers, I know they're robots, but it's a similar kind of thing. You got Autobots and Decepticons. There's a code of honor there, particularly amongst the Autobots as well. So you can see that. You got dystopian societies. You can see all of that working. I can't see them crossing over with either G.I. Joe or Mask.
No.
If for no other reason than I mean, obviously they'd have to be on the same side, but if they're going into any kind of battle with Mask, all right, on the one side, you've got Mask who are all driving fucking super-powered, teched-up vehicles.
Yeah, flying cars and motorbike helicopters.
And then you've got fucking Visionaries who can turn into an animal for like 30 seconds. Because that's the other thing, they don't hold their animal shape either. No. It's not like they hold their beast forms. Like, they get like about 30 seconds and then they revert back.
Yeah.
They actually like wear out their animal form. And the staffs need recharging, so if they're in any other universe and they cut off from the fucking magic well, they can't recharge their staffs.
Yeah.
So I
saw a bit of one where I don't keep wanting to call him Darkseid, and he's not Darkseid, he's Darkstorm, isn't he?
Darkstorm.
Like he goes to get all their staffs recharged, and the guy's like, "You have to go on a quest for me first." He's like, "Fuck you! I'm not doing a quest. I'm going somewhere else." And he finds a witch who can also potentially recharge the staffs. I was like, just find a fucking outlet and plug it into the wall for half hour.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's so many logic gaps here.
I know, it's fucking weird.
So many fucking logic gaps, but it is what it is. Yeah. And I gotta say, I enjoyed it when I watched it. I did. If I'd have known going in there were only 13 episodes, I didn't find that out till actually this afternoon when I was just doing a quick bit of research, but I might have stayed the course on Saturday if I'd known I was nearly halfway through. I genuinely might have stayed the course. Of course, I'd have been disappointed because I bet it doesn't wrap up properly.
Probably not.
Probably just fucking stops.
So, episode 13, learning that two.
Oh, hold on, spoilers.
Sorry, spoilers. Because
there might be listeners out there now who are thinking, it's only 13 episodes and it sounds cool. So
apologies, spoilers for a show that's nearly fucking 40 years old. So showing you look. Oh, it's a team up episode.
Oh, okay.
So, learning that a tomb imprisoning 6 mischievous imps has been exposed, Merklin sends the Visionaries to rebury it, but Lexor tricks Sindar into freeing the creatures, who proceed to wreak havoc on both factions. The Spectral Knights and Darkling Lords are forced to work together in order to recapture the imps and return them to their tomb.
So it doesn't end properly anyway. Then it's just a regular episode.
It's just a regular episode that ends, and then the fucking overall thing doesn't finish.
Which I didn't think it would.
But then again, no, from reading the thing about it got cancelled. It didn't finish it. It got cancelled.
Yeah, because it was too fucking expensive to make the toys. And what's the fucking point?
Yeah. Like you ain't selling toys. There's no point making the fucking show.
The show feeds the toys, feeds the show. It's cyclical. The snake eats its tail. And like I said, see just about any other action show at this period, and we've talked about a bunch of them, and we'll talk about a bunch more. It was all about selling toys at the end of the day, and this clearly didn't sell enough toys, unfortunately.
Well, that's it. I mean, presumably that's why the first season Ranger toys came out after the show.
Yeah,
and then they didn't do the second season, so they didn't do the second run. The toys didn't sell well enough.
No.
Weird.
There you go. Yeah, I've not got much else to say about it. Like it's fucking awful. It's terrible, but I really enjoyed it. Like, the animation's bad, the voice acting is passable, as I say, the writing is fucking atrocious, the whole concept is flawed.
Yeah.
It's just bad. It's fucking terrible, but it's short, and I don't know, maybe I was just in the mood. I don't know, but I really fucking enjoyed it.
Yeah, so, I've not seen enough of it to really have that sort of opinion. From what I've seen, I'm not that bothered about going back and finding the rest of it.
I probably won't now. I wouldn't knowingly go back and watch the rest of the run now. But I I think I was comfortable. I was in the right time and space. So maybe if that's you, if you're out there and
Maybe it's
you've
hangover
got,
fodder.
yeah, I mean, was it 13 episodes? So
Yeah,
you're looking at what, about 5, 6 hours
if that,
tops?
if that.
Tops. They're about 20 something
But
minutes a
22
pop.
minutes each, so yeah.
So you're looking at 286 minutes. So yeah, just under 5 hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is hangover fodder. I think if you get up and you're a bit delicate and you just want to
Yeah.
watch something
You don't
absolutely
need to move.
stupid,
Yeah, you want to stay where you are. You don't want to move. You don't want to think too much. It might work.
yeah, I think so. Like I said,
I have two young kids, so that's never an option. Hangover or not, I have to move. So
yeah,
this ain't gonna fly.
no, I don't think I'll ever go back and watch the rest of them now. But yeah, generally, had I known on Saturday, I might have powered through the rest of them.
Yeah.
So that's about as much praise as I can give it. I don't think I've completed a run of a show yet, not on a rewatch anyway. There's plenty of shows we've done where I have seen the whole run plenty of
Yeah.
times. But as for a rerun for this show, I've not completed anything. And there are some that are still in progress, but there's none that I've completed a rewatch of yet.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't have that. Having seen an episode and snippets, I've not got any baggage with this, and I really cannot be fucked to go back to it. Yes, it's at best it's passable for a short period. That's about the best I can say for it. As always, we may be completely off the mark on that. You may think
Oh,
it's
I
great.
bet. Yeah,
There will
yeah.
be people who fucking love
I
the show. I mean,
guarantee you, there are
the
people out there who
fact
fucking
that
adore this.
the fact there was a new line of lyric figures brought out for Comic Con in 2017. That tells you there's a fucking fan base for this show.
And I get it. They're cool. The
Yeah.
figures are cool. I get it.
So yeah, I mean, we may be in a minority. We may be in a minority of people actually remember this fucking show in the first place, because there don't seem to be many from people I've spoken to who actually go, "Oh yeah, I remember that." What the fuck was that? And
Really?
you explain, and they go, "Oh yeah, I don't remember that." They might remember the toys, but they won't remember the show at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you are one of those people who do love the show or do remember the show more fondly than we have, again, get in touch as always on Twitter at SMPDPod. Wherever you get your podcast from, be it Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Amazon Music, iTunes, etc. Like, share, subscribe, drop some message, we get back to you as best we can. You can go to our website, which is ddpodcast.net, and get this previous episodes and our other shows as well. On Facebook, on YouTube with the Level Up Podcast Network. Check us out. But until next time.
See you later.